Welcome. We are so glad you could join us for this custom deep dive today.
Yeah, it's a really great topic we have lined up.
It is. Today, our mission is to explore this really fascinating excerpt from a critical text called The Fellowship of Duty and the Burden of Power. We're looking at exactly why The Lord of the Rings is widely considered the ultimate masterpiece of high fantasy.
Right, and why it remains this cemented top 100 essential, decades after it was actually written.
Exactly, because it's an analysis that strips away the sort of surface level pop culture perception of the story.
hmm It forces us to really look at the psychological foundations holding the whole narrative together.
Now, you already know the lore. When someone brings up Tolkien, your mind probably jumps straight to those sprawling epic
The
battles.
wizards, the immortal elves.
Yeah, and a world so obsessively detailed it actually has its own fully functional languages.
Right.
But our source material today bypasses all that famous world building to examine a much deeper layer. Okay, let's unpack this. We are all familiar with the core plot. Frodo Baggins inheriting the One Ring, which is this artifact of absolute evil, and making that miserable trek to the fires of Mount Doom.
Yeah.
But the author of this text argues that the physical journey is entirely secondary to the internal one.
It is. What's fascinating here is how the source material actively shifts our focus away from the magic systems and the swords. It argues that the real heart of the narrative isn't the spellcasting at all.
No.
It's the profound, agonizing psychological toll the ring actually takes on Frodo.
Yeah, the text points out that this is basically a masterclass in depicting how absolute power relentlessly hollows out the soul.
Exactly. For instance, the author highlights those vivid descriptions of Frodo feeling the ring physically growing heavier over time.
It becomes this literal and figurative weight dragging him toward a state of complete mental decay,
It's portrayed almost like a terminal illness of the spirit.
which is an incredibly intense way to look at it. But I do have to ask, does the author argue that the magic and the massive armies are entirely pointless to the story, or just that they serve as a backdrop to that internal struggle? Because, I mean, realistically, those battles take up a lot of page space.
Right, they do. The text suggests they are a necessary backdrop, but ultimately they're a giant distraction.
Distraction.
Yeah, because while the kings and wizards are clashing in these epic world-ending battles, the actual war for the fate of Middle-earth is happening in silence, inside the mind of one exhausted, completely isolated person.
Wow.
And that stark contrast is exactly what elevates the story from just standard fantasy to a real psychological masterpiece.
And that sets up the antidote to that darkness perfectly, because the source heavily emphasizes this core theme, the idea that the absolute smallest, seemingly most insignificant people are the ones who actually change the course of history.
It's a crucial pivot. The author dedicates a significant portion of this excerpt to the unwavering loyalty of Frodo's best friend, Samwise Gamgee.
Yes, Sam.
The text makes a really bold claim here. It explicitly positions simple courage and deep friendship as the only things capable of truly standing against total darkness.
Oh, absolutely. Like when the author points to the climax, where Sam physically carries Frodo up the mountain because the ring's corruption has completely paralyzed him.
The core argument there is that you cannot fight absolute corrupting power with more power. You can only fight it with grounded, selfless devotion.
So, bringing this all together, the reason this text claims the story endures as a masterpiece isn't just the expansive fantasy world, it's how it defines that ultimate struggle of good versus evil with an unmatched level of raw emotion and psychological detail.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it becomes very clear why this resonates with you right now. We live in a world that can often feel dictated by massive, overwhelming forces. And this text serves as a compelling reminder that everyday loyalty and simple, unglamorous courage aren't just quaint ideas.
Yeah, they're not.
They are actually the most potent tools we have for facing down overwhelming odds.
That is a brilliant perspective to carry forward. Before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final lingering question to explore on your own.
Go for it.
If the One Ring is truly an artifact of absolute evil that inevitably corrupts anyone who touches it, what does it say about the true nature of power that the fate of the entire world had to be entrusted to a humble hobbit rather than the immensely powerful wizards or elves who also inhabit that world?
That is a great question.
Something for you to mull over. We will catch you next time.